Hoping to see more beautiful things, she lit a third match. This time, the little flame turned into a wonderful Christmas tree. It was even more special than the Christmas tree that stood in the city square every year, and that was very special indeed. Many baubles and candles were fixed on the dark green branches of this magical Christmas tree. The little Matchgirl tried to count all the candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... But by the time she'd got to 10, the tree and all its candles had vanished, and once again she was left with a burned-out match. "Come back, beautiful tree," she cried. And as she looked up into the sky, she saw that the candles of the Christmas tree had turned into hundreds of shining stars. The little Matchgirl reached out to try and touch the stars, and as she did this, a shooting star flew across the sky and landed in her hands. It gave her hands a warm, tingling feeling. It was a magical feeling, quite unlike anything she'd ever felt before. Suddenly, she felt full of hope and happiness. She looked on in amazement as the star shot out of her hands and back across the sky. She didn't let it out of her sight until its fiery tail had faded into the distance. Even the matches leapt out of her hands and seemed to dance with delight. And then she remembered the night when she and her grandmother had watched a shooting star light up the sky. When you see a shooting star, it means a soul is returning to heaven, her grandmother had told her. She started thinking about her grandmother, who had died a few years ago. The little Matchgirl felt happy and sad at the same time when she remembered that her grandmother had been the only person who had ever shown her any kindness. To warm herself up, she lit another match, and as its little flame flickered, her kind and lovely grandmother appeared. She looked happier and lovelier than she had ever looked before. "Dear grandmother," shouted the little girl, "how I've missed you. Take me with you before you disappear. The stove, goose and Christmas tree may have only paid me a brief visit, but I want to stay with you forever and ever." She then struck all the other matches she had left in quick succession in the hope that her grandmother would stay. The flames from all the matches burned so bright that they lit up the whole sky. In fact, it seemed as if night had turned into day. "How beautiful you look tonight," said the little Matchgirl as she looked at her grandmother. And as the little Matchgirl reached out to touch her, her grandmother lifted her up and flew away with her. "Tonight, we are going to paradise, little one. It is a place where you will never feel cold or hungry again," her grandmother said. So over the snowy rooftops of the grand houses and the treetops they flew, until they were so high in the sky that the houses looked like little dolls' houses, and the trees looked as if they were matchsticks. The next morning, the little Matchgirl was found on the cold, snow-covered street. She had a glow in her cheeks, and she looked as if she was asleep. An old man took off his coat to wrap around her, and he shook her arm gently to wake her. But the little girl was dead.
The poor little thing had been trying to warm herself,
cried the old man when he saw the burnt-out matches by her side. And as a crowd gathered, many people shed tears for her.
How sad.
But little did they know that she had seen the most wonderful visions, and that she had gone to a place where she would never feel cold again.